So I have been selling on Vinted Pro alongside eBay since Vinted Pro was announced. In fact, I was one of the early people who was stupid enough to put my national insurance details in there. Not good advice. Anyway, so I've been selling on there. The back end of last year, I was selling a little bit, not really putting much effort into it. But this year, I have decided, well, probably more so the back end of last year, to actually start using a cross lister tool. Don't worry, not a sponsored post. Now, I am cross listing all of my items from eBay over to Vinted, and I've been seeing some interesting results, shall we say. In fact, this week has been really good. This week, the first week of January, Vinted has been performing better than eBay. And my head has gone because I feel like, and this is really weird, I was just speaking to Shell Resells about this. I feel like I'm cheating on eBay. I feel like Vinted's my side chick and I shouldn't be doing it, and I feel like I'm letting eBay down. But money is money at the end of the day. Now, look, I'm not saying I am going to put all my eggs into the Vinted basket. Absolutely not. But I'm saying I'm going to spread them out a bit more between eBay and Vinted. And I'm sure people can dig through the archives where I've talked about cross listing and how I'll never do it. And that was because I always believed that eBay was the only platform worth listing on. I truly believe now that Vinted is offering eBay some stiff competition. But it's not all good. So a lot of things I'm hearing at the moment is Vinted is great, Vinted's fantastic, Vinted's the best, Vinted's perfect, eBay's rubbish, blah blah blah. I get it because I feel the same some of the time. But when you break it down, it's not all perfect. So today I want to speak a little bit about the pros and the cons to Vinted that I have experienced from being a pro seller on there for a few months. I'm no expert on Vinted, okay? I'm not making 100,000 on Vinted right now. I'm making okay money. As I say, it's been better than eBay this week. But anyway, let's break down the pros and cons. And then I want to speak about the plans for the future. So let's talk about, I've made a little list here. Let's talk about some of the pros to Vinted. And in the comments, let me know whether I've missed any pros or whether I've missed any cons, because I might have missed a few things out that you guys have recognised, okay? So let's start with the pros first of all. Pro number one, it's quick to list. We all know, and I'm going from experience, even speaking to Leanne when Leanne lists her own private stuff on Vinted. She's listed a number of items on Vinted, and I've had this conversation with her. Why have you not put it on eBay? Why have you chosen to list on Vinted? And it comes down to the speed. Okay, you can go onto Vinted, you can upload a couple of pictures, doesn't have to be like eBay's with the limit of 24. You can upload a couple of pictures. You can literally write Nike jacket, men's size large, blue, and that is literally it. You can put in the thing, use condition. You select Nike in the drop down, you select the size, you select the colour, material if you want to. You don't have to select material. Select your postage size, small, medium, large, click submit, you're ready to go. So effectively, you can list on Vinted in under a minute. Compared to if she was to go onto eBay and list on eBay, it could take 2, 3, 4, 10 minutes if she wanted to fill in all of the item specifics eBay asks you to do. Now, I'm not saying the item specifics are not good because it does help in search, but for the speed of listing, Vinted wins overall. So that's a tick for Vinted in my eyes. There's no item specifics. Spoke about this briefly. It's very simple to list on Vinted. Anyone can list on Vinted. I'm sure you can take your phone to your nan's house or whatever and tell her this is what you need to do, and she would pick it up pretty quickly. I think for eBay, sometimes you feel like you need a scientific degree with the amount of information you have to fill in. So we've covered that, so I won't go into that too much more. No fees, big one. So on eBay, as a business seller, and I'm talking about Vinted as a pro seller, by the way, as a business seller on eBay, a clothing seller, we've had the luxury for the last 3 months to have zero fees. It's felt great, hasn't it? You would agree. I definitely agree because it's more money in the bank account. And then January the 1st came, as expected, the fees are back. We don't know what changes eBay is going to make, by the way, next month. The fees are back, and suddenly I'm feeling it. I'm seeing it on Instagram. People are showing their fee screen. Oh, this hurts. eBay have taken £15 off me. eBay have taken £40 off me. Vinted, the buyer pays the fees. So we don't feel that pain at all. So, for instance, yesterday when I sold a jacket on Vinted for £50, that £50 is in my bank account. Not straight away, we'll come on to that. But no other fees are coming out of that apart from the taxes I need to pay. So, no fees, big tick for Vinted. Easy shipping. Another one as well. With Vinted, you select the couriers you want to use. The person who buys the item selects which courier out of the ones you have selected available to select, and you literally click on download the label, print the label, ready to go. Now, it's not always perfect, and we'll talk a little bit about the con when it comes to shipping, but most of the time, for me, if I print from Every, it's the same process as eBay. Click one button, download the label, stick it on the parcel, out the door. Really easy. Also very easy for the buyer as well. So you have fixed prices, small, medium and large. Fixed price, we're not dictating our own prices. Vinted deal with all of that, so that's a big tick. The other pro I'm thinking about here, it's super popular. I'm hearing people who aren't resellers talk constantly about Vinted. Vinted's really great. I sell some things on Vinted. When I go to the car boots, I hear it. When I go to the charity shops, I hear it. When I walk through town, I hear it. When I speak to friends, in fact, you get the idea. People are talking about it. Now, it is new, it is exciting, it is fresh. eBay's been around for years, so I get it. And when people look at the App Store and say, oh, look where Vinted is trending compared to eBay. Well, yeah, that makes sense because most people have the eBay app already. But people are active, people are talking about it. That's going to be good because word of mouth, people talk to people, it spreads. You get the idea, more customers, more eyes, etc., etc. So all sounds good. So you might be thinking, why would I even sell on eBay after all of that? But there is some cons to Vinted that not many people are actually talking about when they're talking about all these pros. Let's talk about some of the cons for some people. The 14-day hold can affect cash flow. This is for pro sellers. So for the people who do not know, as a Vinted pro seller, as a business seller, and you can do what you want to do. But effectively, if you're a business seller, you should be on a Vinted Pro account as per the terms. I don't care. Doesn't affect my world. But as a pro seller, if I sold an item today and I shipped the item today and it arrives with the customer in 4 days' time, I've got to wait another 14 days after it arrives for the money to be released. Now, is it a pro, is it a con? To some people it's a con. To me, it doesn't matter too much because once you've made sales for 3 or 4 weeks, the money starts rolling in anyway. The good thing about that, the cash flow thing, and the 14-day hold, is that is your return window. On Vinted, it's a 14-day return window. So that means I don't have to give the money back to Vinted unless there's an issue within the 14 days. We've all had the instant on eBay where you've sold an item for a couple of £100. Suddenly, you've spent the money on new stock, gets to day 14, gets to day 15, gets to day 16, suddenly a return case is opened, and you're having to refund £200 once the item comes back. With Vinted, at least the money is on this kind of like hold, and then when it hits your account, that's it. Transaction done, it's your money to spend. So I don't mind that too much, but for some people it can be a con. It can really hurt your cash flow, especially if you are new and you're relying on that money coming in. Next con, probably the biggest one, customer service. It's non-existent when it comes to Vinted. Okay, most of the time you feel like you're talking to a bot. Most of the time they don't really understand what you're asking for. I will do a verification video where I can talk about the struggles of that, but sometimes you feel like just having a chat with a human, just being able to pick up the phone. And I feel we underestimate that when it comes to eBay, because a lot of the time we will moan about eBay's customer service, but at least you can actually talk to a human being. Sometimes they'll give you the generic answers, but at least you can have that conversation. So customer service, non-existent. Another con, GSP, international sales, GSP. With eBay, we have the whole world at our fingertips. The good thing about GSP, you can send it to the hub, they deal with the rest. So we can sell our items internationally. With Vinted, at this stage, you can only sell within the UK. So it does limit your audience to just UK. If you look at your GSP sales, maybe ask yourself, how many did you get in a month? How many did you get in a year? You know, it might only be 20 a year. It might be only 30 a year. But you are going to be giving up them sales if you commit solely to Vinted at this stage. Will they change that in the future? Who knows? I hope so. We'll have to wait and see. The other con on Vinted is Vinted ban everyone. That's what I wrote down here, okay? They don't ban everyone, we know that. They're very volatile when it comes to banning people. I've seen people, I'm not going to name names, get banned 3 or 4 times. Come back, get banned. Come back, get banned. It seems like the littlest mistake you make on Vinted. I'm not even talking about from a customer service point of view. I'm talking about uploading something that Vinted may feels fake when it's not. I'm talking about uploading the same item multiple times by mistake. And sometimes the Vinted bots pick up on items where you might have 2 or 3 of the same item, you change it slightly and they still pick it up as the same item. So Vinted are very volatile when it comes to banning you. And again, people will say eBay bans people. Correct, they do. But I think for eBay to ban you, you've got to make some really big mistakes. So I believe that to be a big con, where I wouldn't want to put all my eggs into the Vinted basket, because I think I would have sleepless nights, waking up the next day being like, are they going to boot me off today? One more con I've got on Vinted, Skew System. So on eBay, I think the Skew System is underrated. And I think once you get over having, say, 100 items in your store, having a good Skew System is really important. So I believe if Vinted was to introduce a Skew System, it would be a game changer. There is workarounds, and shout out to a couple of people who told me, Olma, you're included in this as well, because you voice noted me a good idea the other day. There is ways to do it, but it still feels a bit clunky. And I thought of one more con on Vinted, the offer system. Again, we probably take it for granted. When you've got that message in the morning saying send 12 offers to your customers, one click, put a percentage in, if you want to do it as a bulk thing, send offer, move on with your day. With Vinted, it's very much a case of you need to do it one by one. Again, I found a few hacks, I've been told a few hacks that's been really helpful. It just feels a bit clunky. The other thing I will say as well is this is just my thoughts on the platform. Do I have any plans to move my business onto Vinted completely? Absolutely not at this stage. I'm going to be using both platforms. I still believe there's going to be eyeballs on different items on different platforms. But come the end of the year, if I see the results of saying 75, 80% of my sales are on Vinted and 20% on eBay, that's going to be a real tell for me about the items I'm listing where my customer base may well be. So I think it's going to be an interesting year. No changes from me. I'm going to cross list onto everyone. As I say, I use a cross lister. I use Seller Ada, not a sponsored post. I'm not advising people to use it. It works for me. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it clunky? Yes. Does it do what I need it to do? Yes. I don't use the auto delist feature. I don't pay for that. I delist myself. And that's my last word of warning to you guys. If you're thinking about cross-listing, be super careful. If it sells on eBay and it sells on Vinted, eBay's going to punish you more for cancelling the sale. That's all I'm going to say on that. Make your own choices, make your own decisions. Let me know in the comments what other pros and cons I missed for both. Fairly new to this myself, but you guys might know more. Let me know your thoughts. Let's have a discussion about it. Do you list on Vinted? Are you against it? What's your thoughts? Hopefully hear from you soon, and I'll see you in the next video.